Hi everybody, and welcome back to the channel today. So, what I thought I'd speak about is a friend of mine, friend of about 25 years. I was on the phone to him after getting back from Southampton, because I've been to Southampton seeing my father, because my father's in hospital at the moment. And he asked me this question. Now, what he asked me was, is it possible for you to forgive your ex for what she did to you? Okay. So that was the question he asked me. And what you've got to take into account is he doesn't have children. He's never had children. I suppose you could say in a way he's never really had a stable relationship. Mainly because he's behaved like a dick a lot of the time. So he phoned me up and he asked me this question. Now, when you take it into account, I've got to give a bit of backstory. So 2008, had a grand mal seizure. Okay, really bad. And my mum had to come back to Southampton to pick me up, to care for me, because I was unable to look after myself. You know, I was in my early 30s, okay, but I was 30. Okay, I was unable to look after myself. So she came and picked me up from Southampton, brought me to Southsea, and when I was starting to get back on my feet, I met this girl, and I openly admit it was via internet dating, basically the infancy of internet dating, and I met her through Facebook. And if I remember rightly, our first date, I'm trying to remember, you know, it's 18 years ago. I think I got a feeling I took her up the Spinnaker Tower, but I may be wrong on that. And you know, eventually she fell pregnant, and we had a stupid breakup. That's the easiest way to put it. It was absolutely stupid and ridiculous. I said something silly. She took it the wrong way. She went to tell mummy and daddy and her younger sister. They got the, you know, it's a classic Jeremy Cole thing, says, as he used to say on his programme, as soon as you tell your family, they have a view. And it's true. Okay. And what I did, she was probably about 4 or 5 months pregnant, and she said, I will always love you no matter what. Those were her words to me. Okay. And she doesn't deny it. She said it. And I was a dick, and I said, what, even if I cheated on you? That's what I said. And it was stupid. It was a stupid thing to say. But because I said that, and she went and told all of our family, they had the view I was cheating. Now, in some respects, I wish I had. Because of what happened afterwards, after I said that, I would have felt a lot better if I had cheated on her. Even though I hadn't. Okay. I'd never cheated on her. Up to that stage in my life, I'd never even had an affair. You know, because I cared so much about the girl. You know, I cared so much about Sophie. And some people would say, why? Why did you care about her? And that's a hard one to answer. Okay, and it wasn't because she was pregnant or anything like that. It's probably the first person I actually really did care for. Okay. So, after it happened, she stopped all contact, stopped me from seeing my daughter. My daughter was born on the 6th of August, okay, 2009. Still never seen her. So we're going back to 2009. So that's 17 years. 17 years I've still not seen my daughter for. Okay. I've sent her messages, I buy her birthday cards, buy her Christmas cards. They're under my stairs. She wants to come and pick them up, she can come and pick them up anytime she likes. Even My two daughters, they buy her a birthday card and a Christmas card. Okay, this year, okay, my wife doesn't know this. She really doesn't know this. She will ask if she sees this video. My middle son asked me to send her a birthday wish from him. Okay. Obviously, she never responded. I didn't expect her to get a response. I would have loved it if he would have got a response, but he didn't. And, you know, that's life at the end of the day. But it still doesn't boil down to the question of, can I forgive her? And the reality is, if he had asked me 4 years ago, I would have said no, not in a million years. Because there was a stage in my life from August the 9th, 2009 to around about 4 years ago. I hated her. I hated her so much. You know, I hated her so much. I was hoping, and this could make me sound so awful, I was hoping she was going to die a painful death. I wanted her to get cancer or something like that, where she was actually going to suffer. That's what I wanted. And I know that makes me sound like an absolute vile, low-life scumbag. But that was the way I felt. Because I had to suffer for so many years because she wouldn't let me see my daughter. That's all I've ever wanted. Because she don't want to speak to me. She wants to hate me. Got no problem with that. That's fine. Lots of people hate me, you know. In the line of work I've worked in, you know, double glazing salesman. You know, I run newspapers. Okay, you know, I'm not exactly in the industries or top of the list for what people that you're actually going to like. You know, I'm one of the most I'm in the industries for the most hated people in the UK. You know, all I've got to do is now try and get myself as either a politician or an estate agent, and I'm there. I've had them all. Okay. And then I remember I got to one day. I can't remember if I'd gone out with my wife on this particular day, but I was up in Fareham. I was in Fareham Shopping Centre, and I was I'd been to a shop, and I can't remember what shop, and I was literally going to walk out to go and get the bus back to Rownor, because I was living in Rownor at the time. Okay. And where Clark's used to be, now normally I will take a wide berth there, but I took a narrow turn, so I was right on the corner, and I literally nearly walked straight into her. Okay, and she was with some guy. Might have been her boyfriend, might have been a friend, I don't know. And to be honest, it's none of my business. No, I hope she's well, I do know she's got a boyfriend, or she did have a boyfriend last year. And I was angry. I thought, how dare you step into my oxygen? I was so angry at the time. And I got on probably the 9, or it would have been the 9A, back to Rownor. And I was just about to go into my house, and I saw one of my next door neighbours, and she called me over, and she could see I was absolutely seething. I was just so, I was seething in anger that she had come into my space with everything that she had done. And this neighbour asked me to come into her house and said, "What's wrong?" So I explained to her. And she said to me, and she is a little bit older than me, and she said, "You've got to let it go. If you don't let it go, you're not only going to destroy yourself and carry on destroying yourself, because everybody can see you're not happy. You know, Joanne's going to know. Your stepdaughter, Jamie Lee, she probably knows. You've got to let it go. And whether you want to try and find your daughter at some stage or whatever you want to do, but you can't keep on letting the anger build up, because what's happened has happened and you need to let it go. And I thought, okay. And I always got brought up to respect what your elders say. That's the way I got brought up. And I had to think about it. And I thought, I hate her. I hate my neighbour now. Why do you have to go and say something like that? Now you have really ticked me off. The reason she ticked me off because I knew she was damn well right. And it really did annoy me because I don't like being wrong. It's the one thing about me, I do not like being in the wrong. And the reason was because for the previous decade or whatever it was, I'd been in the wrong. I shouldn't have taken that attitude of wishing she would die or wishing she was dead or anything like that, because it was the wrong attitude to have. Because if I go down that route, and I hate to say this, because of my attitude, I'd never shown my attitude towards my ex, but because of the attitude I had at the time, she probably was right not to allow me around at the time because of my attitude, and she may have ended up seeing that, and it wouldn't have been right for our daughter, you know. So at that point I realised I really had to change. I really had to change my attitude. So when I look at it now, okay, and I have for the last few years, I thought, I don't hate her. You know, I've seen her in around town and stuff, been into her place of works. You know, a lot of people would say to me, they wouldn't blame me if I went absolutely ballistic. Won't do it. Because I'm not going to get anything out of it at the end of the day. So when I look at it now, I actually feel sorry for my ex. I feel sorry for her because I don't think she realises how much damage she's actually created. Whether she's purposely done it or not, I don't know. Maybe she has, maybe she hasn't. But whether it's in the next year, the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, she'll realise how much damage she's actually done. She'll realise how much she's damaged her daughter. She may even realise how much she's even damaged myself. She may not. She may well do. But it will come back to bite her. So when I look at it now, I don't hate her. I do really, really feel sorry for her. If she wanted to speak to me, I'd happily speak to her anytime she wants. Because I don't have anything against her. And the thing is, at the end of the day, if I show anger and hatred towards my ex, Sophie Whittier, what does that say about me as a person? And at the end of the day, I've got to take control of my own life. I have other children. I have children that are brothers and sisters towards my daughter with Sophie. my daughter Amy, that she's never seen. She's like welcome to see them anytime that she likes. Not that she has ever seen them, but the door's always open for her. You know, whether she will see them, I don't honestly know. I'd like to think that she will get the opportunity to be able to see her brothers and sisters, because there's no reason why she can't. You know, so the only person I actually feel sorry for, I don't feel sorry for myself. There was a long time I did that I wallowed in self-pity. But nowadays, there's one person I feel sorry for. And it's not me. And it's not Sophie. I feel sorry for my daughter Amy. Because she's been dragged into a situation she didn't cause. None of this is her fault. This is all my fault. And this is Sophie's fault. We caused it. And I should know better. Because as a child myself, I went through this crap. I still go through this crap as an adult, mainly because of my own mother and father. Two parents, as in my parents, in the last, right, I'm 48, so let's say 45 years, I can't remember how old I was when they split up. Can't even speak civilly. Can't even say anything nice about each other. You know, so I know what it's like as a child to have to deal with it. I still have to deal with it to this very day. As a man that turned 48, how long ago did I turn 48? It's a date today. 14 days ago. I turned 48 14 days ago on the 3rd of August. 3 days before my daughter Amy's birthday. Okay. So I know what it's like. And I know what she's likely to go through in her life. Whether Sophie wants to face up to that, or Amy wants to face up to that for what she potentially will go through and how she will feel about people in her life. I know because I've been there. And I hope, and I do hope, she doesn't go through what I went through. So, what I'm going to say for now is, am I right to forgive my ex-girlfriend, Sophie Whittier, for everything she did and still does to me to this very day? Okay, even though we split up well over 17 years ago. So let us know in the comments down below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all again a bit later.